Saltwater guide, Captain Dave Hansen, my good buddy Marley right above my head there. And we have a good podcast for you today. We're bringing in our new guide, Al Clowers from San Diego. This guy's got almost as much time on water as I do, which says a lot. So we're going to be bringing Al in here in a few minutes. I'm super excited to have him as part of your saltwater guide. I've been trying to get him to be a part of for a very long time. So I am honored and blessed to have Al as part of the team now. But before we get Al on here, I want to talk about yesterday. Justin and I were showing you the new fluorocarbon that Promar came out with. The GT4 by Ahi, Promar Ahi, this stuff. And we gave away a free spool yesterday, and all you had to do was visit their website. I threw the QR code up there, and a bunch of people went on there, and a bunch of people did it. And Kelly Girl pulled the name out of the hat, and Stephen A. Campbell from Costa Mesa is the winner of the first spool of this line that's ever been given away. He's going to be the very first kid on his block with a spool of this fluorocarbon. So, Steve, we're going to talk to you this afternoon, find out what pound you want for fluorocarbon, and you are the first kid on your block with the brand new fluorocarbon. This stuff won't even be on the market, gang, until May. That's when they're going to spring it on the market, and then we're going to talk about it big time. They're bringing me with them to ICAST, so we'll be talking about it a lot at ICAST. And this is a pretty spectacular fluorocarbon, clear like I always say it has to be. I don't know. I know why they color fluorocarbon. It's not to catch fish. It's to catch fishermen because, gang, the first thing you want to do with fluorocarbon, the only reason we're tying it on our line is to try to get a bite. So when they make it pink or blue or red, I'm sorry, gang, that's kind of taken away the whole idea. Now, I know you love pink fluorocarbon, and I understand that. And they caught you red-handed. They got you hook, line, and sinker. They buried that hook deep inside you, and you'll only buy pink fluorocarbon. Now, I know. I've seen you at this tackle store. I heard you on the boards. But really, gang, if you get down to the end of it, it's got to be clear because the whole idea of using fluorocarbon is using something that the fish can't see. That's why I'm standing behind this GT4 big time. This is a spectacular fluorocarbon, and it is clear, just like I talked about for a long time. It's very pliable. It's very soft to work with, and the knots are great, and they don't slip. It's a phenomenal product. I want you all to check it out. Go over to Promar Ahi USA website. Check it out while you're looking around over there. You'll see the all the other products Promar has, the live deception flash lures, those monofilament nets. We'll show you that little commercial in a little bit, but I just want you guys to see this product. It's pretty spectacular. And we'll show you a little bit more products from Promar at the 20-minute mark. Thank you, everybody, for being a part of. Dan Hernandez wants to thank all of you that donated to Dan's kids. He was pretty impressed with the community at your saltwater guide. And thank you all very, very much. Without all of you, none of this is possible. None of this happens. So I want to thank you all very, very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wendell, good to see you. I hope your day's going a little bit better today. Hope it's nice and smooth, and your wife and you are watching the show, and you guys can see Marley jumping around. We put out that post this morning, which was the cutest picture I'd ever seen. Marley standing on his tiptoes trying to look at himself in the makeup mirror. That was a pretty cool picture. And gang, thank you all very, very much for following us. Thanks for hitting the like button. And I think by tomorrow afternoon, we'll be at 70,000 followers on YouTube. And none of that's possible without all of you. So thank you very much. Make sure you hit the like button, the share button, all that stuff that you hear all the time when you're watching people videos. It matters so much. I'm just an old fisherman. It's hard for me to remember to ask you all to hit the like button and the subscribe button and the share button and all that stuff. I always forget. So I want to make sure you guys all got it. Nicholas, good to see you. Everybody that's tuning in right now, we're getting a giant audience. It must be because we're bringing in Al Clowers, because I know it has nothing to do with me. But Al's got some great things to bring to the table for your saltwater guide. We're going to bring Justin Botrell in here at the end of the show. Justin's got his very last hoop net trip of the year tonight. And it should be pretty spectacular. It's the very, very last one, gang, and we're going to find out how many lobsters he's going to talk about how many lobsters he's caught this year and all the great things that he's done doing the lobster thing. So I'm super excited to get Justin back on the show for his very last Hoop Net trip. Hope you don't miss it. It's going to be spectacular tonight. And grab that QR code. We're going to pull it off the screen for a little while we talk to Al. We'll put it back up in a little bit. But, yeah, you're going to find out tonight, Jack, who wins, because Justin's done. I know tomorrow night's the last night, but Justin's anniversary is tomorrow. So in order to be able to sleep in his bed with his beautiful wife, Amanda, he's going to take the night off tomorrow night. He doesn't want to sleep out in the garage with all the snakes. So Justin will be taking the night off tomorrow night. This will be your last chance to watch the live Hoop Net. And then Pablo booked the trip. So thank you all very much. He's all booked up and everything's good with Pablo. And he's going to be fish lobsters last night. He'll be fishing tonight. So hopefully we get some reports from him later in the show. But without any further ado, I want to introduce you all to the new captain of your saltwater guide, Al Clowers. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Dave. Glad to be here.
I don't know what happened. I don't know how the stars aligned or how we did this, but I've been after you for a long time. So thank you for finally becoming a.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been about a month and it's nice and warm. Everybody in the community is really cool up at the show. Everything about it is nice and comfortable, you know. I enjoy it.
Not like all the haters out there saying all the time. I know it's scary to get involved with the most hated human being in the sport fishing industry. So I know it takes a little while to get in. But the only reason they all hate me is because they're all jealous, buddy.
Right. Hey, I was amazed up there at the show with all the community that showed up and lots of love, you know. And I was pretty blown away. So it's all good, man. I'm like I said, I'm stoked, you know, and I can share a gazillion years of experience, you know, and looking forward to a great season, you know.
Oh, it's going to be incredible now that you're on board with us, gang. Yeah. Al's a recovering addict just like myself. I talk about it a lot on the show, Al. I'm sorry to pull your covers back, but that's something we're both very proud of. I don't think it bothers you to tell people.
No. Well, that last comment when I said warm and fuzzy and community, I was going to say it feels like the community in the program, you know, and it's nothing but love, man. And, you know, it's a really good feeling when you can, you know, I remember back in the day when I didn't really know what to do. And some dude that was tatted completely up came up to me, and stuck his hand out and shook his hand. And, you know, stuff like that. And the warmth of the community is really cool. So that program saved my life. My sober date is 5/3/83. So it's been a few years.
Yeah, it has. You got a little more time than I do for damn.
Yeah. And I try to use that in my daily routine, you know, and it helps a lot. So with everybody around me and my family and everybody. So it's been many moons, you know.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I built this phenomenal community, because guys like you and I, we need this love and this. We just need someone to feel that we matter. And that's why I love the outpouring of love I get from all of our members and all of our followers. And it's pretty cool, right? When you were at the show to see that, it's a pretty good feeling in our hearts, right?
Right. Oh yeah, no. I mean, you can be yourself and you know, it's unconditional love, and that's a big deal, you know.
And if these two knuckleheads you're watching right now can be sober, if you're having a problem, gang, you can do it. And Al and I will answer your calls when you call. The real cool thing about us is our phone numbers are out there, and we want you to call us. And I'm sorry, we don't want to get into this being a sobriety show, but you know what? If it wasn't for sobriety, you wouldn't be seeing Al and I sitting here right now.
Oh no, I'd be locked up. I slid out of that by a really thin hair back in 83. So yeah. I want to live on the water, not behind bars.
Yeah, exactly. Or dead. There's only three things that happen to us. There's only three, gang. There's only three things that happen to us. Go ahead, Al.
Yeah, jail's institution or death. Or fishing. So I chose fishing.
Yep, that's it. You get sober and you got a life. It's pretty spectacular. But gang, I want you all to know about Al. So Al, tell us a little bit about your fishing career. How did you get into fishing? What ended up? There had to be someone in your life that took you fishing. You just didn't wake up one day and go fishing.
Yeah, that's a long story. It'd take about 5 hours, but let me cut it down. So I grew up. My mom and dad are high school sweethearts. They went to Chula Vista High, graduated from Chula Vista High, and they bought a little house right here in a National City. And my dad always fished and hunted, right? We bird hunted, right? So we did a lot of duck hunting. We've had a trailer at the Red Hill Marina my whole life, pretty much. I've been through all the Corvina fishing down there. We'd go shoot birds, and I'd go back out there and catch all those big old Corvina. But my dad was a big outdoorsman, and so I give the credit all to my dad. We lost him about a year and a half ago, and my mom's still here, and she still lives in the same house I grew up 2 blocks from me. I live 2 blocks from my house I grew up in.
That's pretty special.
So I worked construction. I was a concrete carpenter, union guy, / superintendent / at the end. And I can't really reveal, well, I guess I could on here, but I've had a lot of health issues, and I worked for the last company for 22 years. And, but I always fished, and that was back when I was fishing a lot of bass tournaments, and TB Pennick is the company I used to work for. They used to pay all my entry fees and everything. But anyway, things got really bad in like 2004. And, there was a new guy in charge, and I didn't get along with him. And one of the jobs was going sour, and they called me in the office and tried to take all my stripes away and just be a carpenter again. I went to that meeting with my shorts and my flip-flops on with my computer, and I told him pound sand, and I gave him my computer, and I found myself sitting on the beach in OB at 10 o'clock in the morning. I've never been at OB at 10 o'clock in the morning on a weekday, so I'm like, I had a vision, and a dream, basically, a dream and a vision, man. I had a $2,000 house payment. I had a $800 truck payment. The kids were gone out of the house. I was here by myself and had about $3,000 in the bank. And I quit. And then, I have about a 9th grade education at best. And I started focusing on the license, right? So I went down there and picked up the pamphlet, and I was just shaking my head when I left. I go, how the heck am I going to remember all this stuff? But anyway, make a long story short, I got my license. I had one boat, the Chris Craft, and blew the motor up in it about 6 months into it. Had to borrow the money from my dad to put it back together. And I rented out my house. So it came to a point where I had to go back to work and put my bags back on, or I had to continue this fishing quest, but rent the house out and move in a dirt lot in my RV. And my ex-father-in-law's property. So he gave me the keys there, and spent a couple of years in there, and then things started going, and ended up rising all the way up to 3 boats with the right people in place. And then met my wife, got married 5 years ago, and moved back to the house. And then now we descended pretty much to 2 boats, Last year was pretty rough on the volume, so I took the Stringari out and put it on the trailer, and it's still on the trailer right now. I'm leaning towards getting the permits and everything, so if I do, it'll be in service around April 5th. And then I have the Riviera. So I've been for full circle, wanting it, getting it, and then trying to get rid of a little bit of the stress with the 3 boats running and all the stuff that goes along with that. So, I'm okay with just running the Riviera, and so the next couple of weeks, I'll decide what I'm going to do with the Stringari, but I might just keep the Riviera and guide in the bay. If they want to fish the back bay, they can hire me to take them in the back bay, and I'll teach them all that stuff on their boat. I'm not sure because I don't want to have two boats and just me, and I don't want to have the wrong guy in the Stringari while I'm running the Riviera either. So I mean, you know, Dave, there's a lot to it. So to be legal and to be doing it right and all that stuff, there's a lot to it. Just with the Riviera, it's like being on vacation, and it's still a lot of work. But with one boat, it's easy. You know?
But you do have so much knowledge of that back bay fishery in San Diego,
Right?
and my whole thing has been about the guide on your boat, going with you on, or not you, Al, but going with the people that are watching on their boats and teaching them all the knowledge that we've acquired over all the years. That
Right.
was my niche. That was my way into a different thing. No one had ever done it before. So when I started your saltwater guide, it was actually Captain Dave's saltwater guide when we first started it. I didn't know anything.
Right.
If that business was even able to happen. I met a young lady back then that was the head of marketing for Verizon, and she told me that I needed to start teaching people that own their own boats all the stuff that I knew. And I was like, well, no one does that. And I'm sorry, gang, if you do that for a living, you forgot to tell anybody, because I've been at the highest level of this industry for a very long time. My family has. So if you were doing it, you forgot to tell anybody, and they made the guide license just for your saltwater guide, Captain Dave Hansen. There'd never been a saltwater guide license ever issued before, also.
Right.
I think what you're talking about, taking people in that back bay, I think that's something that everybody that's listening to the show is going to jump on. And they want to learn that, especially with fuel being 6, 7, 8. I don't think we've seen the top of it yet. I think it's.
They say it's going up, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Especially if whatever, you know, they already figured out who's going to run this show. We're just all just kind of hanging out, waiting. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't think we've even seen close to the top of this thing. And that, for the bluefin guys, that really sucks. But for the guy that has the knowledge you have, that can teach people how to fish that back bay, think about this, gang. You can legitimately go with Al, and I don't know the season, but you can go with Al and catch a bonefish in San Diego Bay. For me, that's like a magical fish to think about. And you don't have to get on a plane and fly to Florida or go fish the Bahamas or go fish some tropical world. You can do it in the back bay of San Diego. Plus, he's got so much knowledge of the back bay and all the ins and outs. I mean, if you look on a chart and try to figure it out on your own, good luck, baby. Good luck.
You get stuck. You get stuck back there.
I did that. I did that once, bringing a boat to the shipyard down there. I didn't quite understand what happens when you go underneath the Coronado.
Oh, yeah, because because the green side, if you're going back, is on the piers. It's not even, they're not even, it's tough even for me, and I know it like the back of my hand, but even for me at night, I got to really pay attention, especially if the tide's low, 0 or less, you know.
But that back bay fishery is just an insane fishery. I know guys like Tommy Gomes and yourself, and there's a handful of guys that have it, but most of them aren't going to share. And then to think that there's
I like share a little bit,
go out with you on your boat and share that back bay thing, where you don't think about this, gang. At the end of the day, you're going to the fuel dock, and you can't put any fuel in your boat because you didn't burn any because you fished in the bay. You didn't go anywhere. That'll be a real weird thing.
If they're on their boat, they can launch at J Street, and it's 500 yards away from the ramp. Basically, it's 2 football fields.
Yeah, and you stick that nozzle of the pump in there, and you click it, and it goes click, and you're like, what? I burned what, a quarter of a gallon of fuel today? Yeah, you didn't go anywhere, but you caught a bunch of fish. I think that's pretty exciting.
So that season, I was out there the other day doing some exploratory work. I had 2 of the grandkids on the boat. So the water temperature was 64, and it got blown out that day, but those bonefish need about 67 to about 75 because that bag is hot.
Yeah, you froze up on us. We lost Al for a minute there. Hopefully he comes back with us.
But deeper water.
There you are.
There's a 3-month window of prime fishing back there for bonefish and all the bay sharks, bat rays, shovel nose, and leopard sharks. And then as that's materializing, the water gets up to about 70.
We lost him again there. Hopefully he figures this thing out. Come on, Al. Figure this internet thing out.
Too much.
Something's going on with Al's connection. Al, jump off and jump back on again if you can hear me. Try to reconnect if you can hear me. I'm going to send you a text. Yeah, you might want to try to reconnect. Something's happening.
Oh,
I don't know. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're good right now. Okay. I got a question from Steve Duncan. What's the biggest bonefish you could catch back there? Or what's the biggest one you've caught?
About 16 inches or so.
Wow, that is a nice one.
Yeah.
That is a really nice one.
And the most I've ever caught. So those windows back there, there's a lot of variables. It's a little finicky of a situation. I mean, you can drift fish them with a little Carolina rig, but mainly if I'm anchored, the tide has a lot to do with it. So you only get like 2.5 hours of perfect tide swing, especially in the afternoon. But if the wind's blowing 12, 15 knots and you got a 5-foot tide, it doesn't matter because the boat will stay in one spot, even with the wind. But if the boat's penduluming, which it will if the tide's not moving fast enough, then you just go drift fish the bonefish. But I like to anchor on this little area I have back there where if you guys just want to catch bonefish, it's different. But if you have kids and stuff on the boat, one kid will be hooked to 80-pound bat ray and the other one's catching a bonefish, and it's pretty spectacular.
You anchor. See, I'm learning right now, gang. If you think you know everything, you're kind of never going to catch anything. I'm learning right now. That sounds really cool to anchor on them.
Yeah, so you anchor up, Dave, and then all that old sardine. When I used to do a bunch of lobster charters at the last 2 months a year, I'd save all my sardine, and you gotta have a bag or two gallon bags of that sardine and a Chum Buddy. You can make your own Chum Buddy with an 8-inch piece of PVC with holes in it and a slicer or whatever you want to call it, or you can buy a Chum Buddy. But that's super important because that Chum Buddy gets the chum in really micro nutrients, or whatever you want to call it, real fine chum, and it just disperse slowly out in the water, and the bonefish will come to you instead of you trying to come to them.
So that goes back to what I talk about, the artificial reefs all the time. It's going to be the same exact thing I'm talking to you all about when we talk about the artificial reefs and how important it is to have a chum bucket. The Chum Buddy, the chum bucket, however you can get there to get that prey density level flowing into the water, it gets those fish all excited. And then, like Al's saying, the bait is so mashed up. It's like microscopic bait going out into the water, and they just come. You're not really trying to feed them. The last thing you want to do is feed them. A little 16-inch bonefish isn't going to eat a lot of chunks. So you want it to be all mushed up, like he's saying. Our good friend John and Tina Stanley, they have a food processor at their house. They make their chum in their kitchen. It's amazing. When you get that dedicated, Al, you know what we're talking about.
Blending it up, baby. Dedicated blender for the chum, obviously.
Yeah, you're not making pancakes with it afterwards. Right. That's for damn sure. Right. So, gang, real quick, I want to show you this video. We're going to talk about Promar Ahi again for a few seconds and just kind of watch this real fast for me. And you're going to want to have one of these on your boat. They sold out at the PCS show. They didn't listen to the power of your saltwater guide, and they were out of them on Friday. You can get them now. You can order them from the website. This is insane. This new net that Promar made, you throw it down below the squid that won't float, and you pull it right through the middle of that squid, and look there you go. Got enough squid to fish with for the day. That's all I would need for a good day of sea bass fishing or yellowtail fishing. You throw that thing in the water 4 or 5 more times, your bait tank's full. So, gang, you go to Promar and you check that out over at Promar. You'll see it. It's a monofilament mesh hoop net. and it's going to change everything for you. You can use it as a landing net. It could be your landing net if you have it, because it's going to be big enough, and that's how they use them on the piers to land fish with. But the thing catches squid like nobody's business. The thing is an amazing contraption to catch that squid when it won't float. So grab the QR code, go over there to Promar, and Justin might, between Justin and I, maybe we'll give away another spool of that line today. So if you guys go to Promar, you use the QR code, or go over there and buy something and use the code YSWG, the number 22. That'll get you entered into the contest. We'll give away another spool of that fluorocarbon, so 2 people on the planet can have a spool besides Promar, myself, and Justin Botrell. So check it all out. Go over there and look at it. See what I'm talking about. When you're on the Promar website, you'll be blown away by all the products that Promar has that you're using every day. You're using a sabiki. You're using a sabiki rod. They make those. You're using the sabiki. They make those. You're using a live deception flash lure. They make those. They make the bait scoops. They make the squid brails. They make pretty much everything you use on a daily basis. And then you're going to want to stock up on all the lobster gear so you're ready for next year, because tomorrow's the last day. But check it out. Go to Promar Ahi USA and check out all the things, or just use the QR code right here, and we'll give away another spool of line, and we'll give it away tomorrow with one lucky person that visits the website. We'll give that spool of line away, and then we'll have Bill Varney on with us tomorrow. So I'm really curious about this whole back bay thing, Al. What about spotted bay bass? Are there a bunch of those back there?
Yeah, there's some grumpy ones back there. So way in the back, there's a little point back there by the salt mines. There's an old shipwreck, and it's pretty much getting depleted right now. But I've pulled up there many times and threw the swim bait around there and got some big old fat spotties. But there's quite a bit. There's a lot of eelgrass, so you got to fish the weedless stuff back in the back, meaning from 24th Street back to the back, all the way in the back by the salt mines. But there's halibut back there. I've got plenty of halibut. Fishing the bay sharks. The biggest short fin corvina I caught was 10-2 on it. Well, I didn't catch it, but the client did on cut bait. So there's a bunch of different stuff back there. There's sea turtles back there, because we used to have that plant back there for many years, and it would generate the warm water on the outflow. And we used to water ski back there in January because the water was so warm back in there. But yeah, there's still sea turtles back in there. They have a giant 5-mile-an-hour wake zone that goes about, I don't know, 1.5 miles or 2 miles. And I asked the harbor police one day, because I was going a little fast trying to come out of there one day, and he pulled me over, and I go, "Hey, why is this 5 mile an hour?" And he said they put it 5 mile an hour because of sea turtles.
Well, that's a good reason. Yeah.
But yeah, everything's back there, Like I said, springtime is the best, spring and early summer is the best. Once it gets hot, there's still probably some fish back in there, but they probably move into that 70-degree area out front, not front, but out in front of 24th Street, the deeper eelgrass areas and stuff like that. But my favorite thing to do in the summer, September and August, is grab my Ranger. I just put like $7,000 worth of trolling motor and new electronics on that thing, so I haven't put it in the saltwater yet. But I take my Ranger out there, my bass boat, with the trolling motor, and go out about an hour. It has to be glassy, right? No wind. And go over to Coronado and straight across from 24th Street and by POE's and grab that. It's a super spook. It's a saltwater series in bone color, and start firing that spook around once it gets dark. And those corvina come up and just smoke that thing. And I've caught gars in there on there. I've caught halibut will come up and do cartwheels after that thing. It's crazy.
How
it's
cool
crazy.
is that?
And in summertime, you go out till like 10 o'clock. Once it starts getting a little moist, or you got to get out of your shorts, it's time to go back. But that's one of my favorite things to do as a big bass fisherman. I love topwater fishing, and to do it in the bay, it's insane. It's cool.
And you did fish tournaments and everything in the freshwater world, right? Because I used to listen to you on Let's Talk Hookup when Pete would bring you on there. You have that freshwater bass thing kind of figured out too, right?
Yeah, I took that by storm from my dad back when we used to only throw crawdads, with my dad in the spring and pre spawn, and then my buddy comes up to me and goes, "Hey, you want to go join a bass club?" I'm like, "Not really, but but yeah, I'll go join it with you. But give me a month because all I have is split shots and little number 4 hooks for my crawdads." So I got some gear together, and I have an addictive personality, man. So I ran with it big time. Fished the Southland Bass Club for a while here locally, like 3 years. And then I'm like, man, I want to go fish with the pros. So I fished AAA West Coast for 4 years. And then I fished pro for 2 years. And then I figured out that to go pro, you got to have a lot of backing to be able to do it right. So I kind of backed off, but I've been fishing bass tournaments for probably 30 years. I'll pot shot a few still because, I have friends from all walks of life, and a lot of them are green bass fishermen and saltwater guys. But the green bass guys that are still doing it call me all the time. Hey, man, can you go? Can you go? So every now and then I'll go fish a derby. But I used to guide in the lakes. Obviously you have to have a guide license and all that stuff. And so I've had one for a long time. And that's the hardest guiding work there is on the lakes, because sometimes they're in the bushes and, people can't get their bait in there. I mean, it's tough, but so I don't really do it anymore. I have a few hand selected people that I'll do. I mean, if the members want to go on the lake, I'll take them, if I have time. I just don't want it to clog up my saltwater schedule. But right now the bass are spawning, pre-spawn, spawn. And at San Vicente the other day, it took 27 pounds to win last Saturday. 27 pounds for 5.
That's a good average. That's a good average of fish.
So anyway, back in my prime, I would be on the lake one day. I'd be in the bay lobster fishing that night, and then I'd do like a 3/4 day leave late to stay within the regulations of my license. I was working around the clock, man. I mean, you look at my garage. There's hundreds of rods, and it go from 80 wide all the way down to a little split shot rod for the lake. So it's crazy. And nowadays, I'm trying to downsize a little bit and not have so much stress, and just run the Riviera, and I might put the Stringari back in place if I can get the right person to run it when I'm not running it. That's a big deal, because you gotta have the right people in place to do it right. Otherwise, it's not good. Start getting bad reviews and stuff. But just so the viewers know, I'm not just a bay guide. So, the Riviera fishes offshore, 12-hour, 3/4 day, half day, and it does 6-person bay trips as well. I can't get the Riviera back in the skinny water in the back, but there's bonefish in the 10 and 12-foot water as well. But so if I just have the Riviera, you're more than welcome to come and do a bay trip on the Riviera, or a 12-hour offshore trip. I mean, that's the thing. I just put I had a CH 270 in it, and then it started breaking, and I couldn't get the parts. So last season I put the highest end sonar in that thing. The CH 500s in there. So I mean, that thing's. I haven't shown any pictures or done any videos on the boat, but I'm going to be doing some here shortly. But it's a beautiful 36 tournament Riviera with aftermarket bow rail. It's got the big high 2-inch bow rail, plenty of bait, CH 500, very comfortable, and everybody loves that thing.
And when Al's talking about the CH 500 gang, we're talking about a sonar. 90% of you guys don't have one on your boat. Sonar has a tube that comes through the hull, and it enters through a ram going down, and it looks all the way around your boat, 360 degrees if you want it to. Most of us run it where it's looking at like 90% from the middle of your boat to the front and all the way around, and we can sweep back and forth and find the tuna. Sonar is kind of the most important thing. There's 2 things that are super important: a pair of gyro stabilizing binoculars and your sonar. Right. And a lot of guys have a hard time deciding which one's more important, but most of us will say the sonar and the gyro stabilized binoculars are like neck and neck. They're both important. And for Al to make that commitment to you guys as clients to go out with them, that's a big deal. He doesn't need that sonar in the back bay. It won't work back there anyway. It won't work. But he made a commitment to you guys going on his boat. Justin doesn't have a sonar. Pablo doesn't have a sonar. So when you go with Al, and if you, here's a really cool thing. If you guys have a sonar on your boat and you don't know how to use it, that's when you want to go with Al. You want to go with Al. You want to set up in the bridge the whole day and learn how to use the sonar. It is a lot to it, gang. A lot of adjusting the tilt, a lot of adjusting the range, a lot of adjusting the gain. Throughout the day when you're fishing for those bluefin, everything's changing all the time. So a good sonar guy and knowing how to use it is super important. And to have Al as part of our team, you guys can take advantage of that, because for me or Al to explain to you how to use the sonar, it's not the same as being out on the boat with the sonar. I've helped a lot of people with their sonars, tuning it in, because it's a huge investment. You're talking
25
low end, 30 grand. That's low end. That's low end. It's 60 grand, 100 grand for sonar installation, the whole thing. It's a big deal. But hey, before we go any further, you and I had a conversation yesterday about what it takes to be legal to run a charter boat out of San Diego Bay, out of LA Harbor, out of Newport, out of Long Beach, wherever it is, gang. This is, Justin and I have talked about it. Justin, Pablo, and I have talked about it. All the guys that work with Dave in his business, your saltwater guide, we're legal. We have the permits. We have everything. Just so that the outside people understand how much it pisses us off. These other guys that are running these, we're not here to throw your name out there. You know who you are, and we're going to expose you right now, because we're going to explain to you how you can tell if it's a legal charter operation or not. And gang, you got to look. If they're picking you up on a launch ramp, just understand you got a great deal. You saved $100 or whatever. You didn't charter Al. You didn't charter Justin. You went with the guy that gave you a discount. If he's picking you up at the launch ramp, he has no insurance. Okay. If that doesn't scare the hell out of you, I don't know what does, because if he gets in an accident, and it happens, Al, did anything bad ever happen to you in like the last couple of days?
Yeah. Sure has.
So you got to understand, gang, and when Al starts to explain this to you, or Justin explains it to you, or Pablo explains it to you, it takes a lot to be legal, right? Al, talk about it.
Yeah, it's expensive, that's why when people call me and kind of hem-haw around the price, like, hey, the price is the price, man. And in San Diego Bay, you got to be paying your port tax. Basically, it's a business license from the port of San Diego. There's only 2, maybe 3 landings or marinas that have it in their master lease, has to be in their master lease for you to run charters out of their marina. I keep my boats in Marina Cortez, and I've been grandfathered in, and they love me over there. And the reason why is because I give them all the stuff ahead of time. They don't have to chase me. But if you look at the launch ramps in San Diego Bay, the only one that doesn't have it is Glorieta Bay. And I don't know why they don't. They should. But all the other boat ramps have a sign right there. A couple of them posted, there's no commercial activity on this at this marina. It's for public use only, for private boaters. Over in Mission Bay, there's been complaints about regular people backing their boat down. If you're by yourself, you launch your boat, jump in your boat, and you want to go put it at the courtesy dock to go park your truck. There's 5 or 6 charter guys sitting there all tied up waiting for their clients. But basically, if they're picking you up at a boat ramp, the reason why Dave says they don't have any insurance, if all the ducks aren't in a row, even if they have the charter insurance policy, you're not going to be covered because they're fishing illegally, So, I mean, I did a big old video on this. I should share it with you, but of what to look for when you're booking a charter. You know what I mean? There's a lot to it. So mainly is the port permit, the right insurance, They really, it's an involuntarily inspection, but like I run a uninspected 6-pack passenger vessel, right? So there, you can go online and look at download the information, and everything on there needs to be in place. I do it every winter just so I can refresh and check all my paperwork to make sure nothing's got missed or misplaced, or a life jacket's not torn or whatever, you know. Some of these bay guys, you got to have a type 1, even if you're fishing in the bay. But you got to be on a drug testing consortium, right? And if you book a charter, you can ask some of those questions. Hey, are you on a drug testing consortium, or do you have a permit? You should have a sticker on the side of the boat that's current. And the involuntary uninspected passenger vessel inspection covers everything when they do the inspection, and they give you a big old sticker, and I put it in the back of my boat by the salon door, where the Coast Guard, if they pull up next to me, which they do every now and then, the guys that don't know who I am, and they can see that sticker in a distance, and when they see that sticker, they just veer off because they know that I have everything I need to have. You know what I mean? And I have to buy fuel on the water. I have to pay for a slip. I have to pay the port every month. And the guys on the trailer are getting fuel off the gas stations for $2 cheaper. They're not paying the port, and their prices are cheaper. And I've been doing this for a long time. I live literally a half a mile from the Back Bay right here in National City. And I was out there the other day, and there's a guy out there that's been doing it for a long time, picking up people at Glorieta Bay launch ramp. I mean, they're taking food off my table, and the problem is we need to get the port. Just put it this way: it's $22,000 fine if you get caught picking up off a launch ramp your clients. 22 grand, but I haven't heard them write any tickets yet. So, something needs to change, Dave. We need to put some pressure on the port and the harbor police and get these guys legal. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I'm not a snitch by no means. I grew up in the ghetto, man. But I'll tell you what, when they're taking food off of my table and stuff like that, something needs to happen.
Yeah, I understand. My family owns a landing. We own Dana Sportfishing, Dana Point Harbor. It affects us. It affects the bottom line of all of us. Here's the thing, though, gang. Forget about all that. You're putting your family's lives in someone else's hands. And if they're not doing it legally, what other ways are they cutting corners? What other things are they doing that's not safe for your family? You're taking your family on someone's boat and you're expecting them to be legit. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe Al. I just promise you this. If they're picking up at the launch ramp, they're not legal, period. There's a reason why they're picking up at the launch ramp, because they're not allowed to load passengers for hire on their dock that they're paying to park the boat at. Or they got their boat on a trailer and they launched it and they're picking their people up there. That's not legal, gang. It's not legal. Because the first thing the insurance company is going to do when there's an accident is they're going to say, where did you get on the boat at? And you're going to say, oh, at Shelter Island Launch Ramp. They're going to go, well, this guy doesn't have permission to pick up there. So this is an illegal charter. So now you better hope that the guy that picked you up owns a big house. Because that's the only way you're going to get compensated for your little kid getting hurt, or your wife getting hurt, or you getting hurt. So just remember that at the end of the day. Al, I want to bring Justin in because he's kind of got the last trip of the year. I love him, man. I don't want to take away any time from Al.
I call him the busy boy right now.
Yeah, but we're going to get you busy, Al. Justin, we can barely see you. Hey, there you are.
Hello.
There he is.
Hey. Al, Dave, how are you guys?
Are you excited to do your last Hoop Net trip of the year and go home and go to bed tomorrow?
Abso-frickin-lutely. I am. Yeah. But yeah, I liked your conversation right now about the illegal charters. And but the one thing that really sucks is we have to pay, I'm paying 15% of the charter to the city to pick up while everyone doesn't have to.
Right. And
That's kind of messed up, you know?
Yeah, you add up 30 trips times 15%. That's a big old fat check every month.
Yeah. Yeah, think of it when we're running offshore charters for 2,500 or 2,900, 15% of that goes to the city.
Right.
Or the landing that you pick up at sucks. But another thing also that Al mentioned is how when we are inspected vessels or uninspected vessels, and we got inspected by Coast Guard for OUPV, we have to carry a urine test on board.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know that. So if you come out with us and you say, hey, you want a drink? You want a beer? And we tell you no, it's not that we don't want to drink, because we do. It's if we get pulled, right? So if we get pulled over and stopped by Coast Guard, which I've gotten stopped twice in 2 weeks now, and they come on the boat and say, you have your urine test? Yes, I do. Okay, you need to pee on it. It's not a 0.08. It's either you have alcohol in your system or you don't. And if you do, you go to jail. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Is if you have it in your system and you fail your test, you're going to jail. So that's what we have to carry. There's a bunch of other stuff we have to carry, just like Al and Dave talked about. It's pretty pricey.
Right. Hey, a parachute flare's $100 a piece. You gotta have 3 of them.
I know. It's so crazy.
And then the fishing game license that you have to have. You have to have a fishing game license, and you have to fill out the log in the morning before you leave electronically, and you have to do all this stuff, and you have to have fish. Here's something that you guys can look for. I just
did my fishing game license today while I talked to you at breakfast.
But if you look at their boat and they don't have the fishing game numbers plastered somewhere on the side of their boat, that'll tell you right there they're running illegal charters, because you're supposed to have that fishing game number posted on the side of your boat so the Fish and Wildlife can look and go, okay, this is a charter boat.
Right. Hey, let me add one other thing. You know, we're coming into the high season here, and you're going to get a bunch of that stuff filtering in. It always does every year. The minimum is not having a port permit, but there's guys rolling up and they have about 10% of what they need. You know, some guys don't even have a captain's license. I mean, there's some, pirates out there big time,
Yeah. So we just got pulled over the other day. I was on there's some people watching right now that were probably on the boat. We got pulled over by Coast Guard, and the first thing he asked, is this a charter? I said, yes, it is. He said, let me see your credentials. Right. So even though I got inspected a week ago, I showed him that. He said, did you get inspected for charter? And I said, yes. He's all, well, I still need to see your credentials. Right. He's all, because we're out here and we're cracking down on all this. Right. He told me that it's getting out of control, and they're going to start cracking down on it out here. Right. But they're all over. Yesterday, I seen 2 Coast Guard flying by, but they know my boat now, so they don't even stop me.
Right.
So.
No, it's a real deal. It feels really good to be all legit, but it costs money, and our trips right now, I mean, I looked at your prices, Justin, and they're bare bones, man. I mean, there's no fat in there, In fact, we could go up a little bit, but I'm trying to keep them down as much as I can. So, but for all the community and whoever listening, don't hesitate to ask. Don't be afraid to ask them, if you don't know them. I mean, I can share one little thing that happened to me. I'll just share little bits and pieces of it. But on Monday, I had an incident where I got wrapped up in a big old 2-inch rope, and the Coast Guard investigator was on me like right away. And I answered all his questions, filled out all this paperwork. I had paying clients on the boat, and everything was okay, and everybody's insured. If some of the boats out there are smoking pot, you know what I mean? Any of that stuff that they're doing will eliminate their insurance, and anything can happen in a split second on the ocean or in the bay. But in the ocean, in a split second, you could be deploying a life raft and jumping overboard, and if you're on the wrong boat, man, you're going to be fighting to get your share, or something could happen. So that's all I got for that. But it's a big deal right now. It's taking food off of my table, and I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, none of us are. My family's not happy. Rusty's not happy. Any of the landing owners aren't happy. It's just a big bunch of scumbag pirate, like Al said, a bunch of pirates. But let's go to positive. We got 10 minutes here. Justin, tell us about your season. Tell us about your year. Tell us about, this is the last night. This is a big deal, buddy.
It is. So finally, the last night has come with no sleep, no anything. But I want to thank everyone that's come out with me, that supported me. And the live streams have been phenomenal, absolutely crazy. Yes, finally, tonight's the last night. Now we can get back to fishing. I'm at 2,241 lobsters for the season, keepers.
That's a lot. Long Beach is rocking. Yeah.
It's a mind-blowing year. It's normally not like this. So everyone that thinks that every year is like this in Long Beach and LA Harbor, it is not. It's normally, you get 5 or 10 lobsters in a night, and that is spectacular.
Right.
If you get 1 or 2 sometimes on your own boat, that is spectacular. But this year's been an exception, just like those Dorado that came here. And I just wanted to thank everybody. It's been great. I'm not no professional by any means. I just try my best. That's all I do.
Hey,
So,
I think I think that my input on the lobster call, I've done them for years, charters and stuff, and I haven't done them the last couple of years, and I screwed up because the last 2 years have been El Nino, and when there's big swell, low pressure, and rain, it equals full bags. That bluebird sky.
What did you say again, Al? Low what? Low what?
Low pressure. Lots of
there
rain.
You go. Bam, baby. Now everyone's learning. I've been mentioning that all season. Every time there's low pressure, they crawl.
Pressure. And big swells, low pressure, and rain, they crawl.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Bluebird skies, they don't like it. High pressure, they don't like it. Unless there's a big swell.
Yeah. Absolutely. So it's been a phenomenal year. Tonight's going to be the last night.
What do you got planned for tonight? You giving away any super cool end of the year prizes? You talked to Ben and Steve over at Promar. You doing anything exciting for everybody? What's going on tonight?
I haven't yet, but let me call Ben and Steve at Promar and see if I can maybe get one of them on the boat tonight, and we can do some giveaways.
Yeah, it's gonna be. It's gonna be. Probably they'll probably help you out with something.
I've been so tired. I haven't even been thinking. I don't know. So, I'm sure I can get some giveaways for people tonight. I'll get that done. Maybe I can give away some of this line right here, this fancy line.
Yeah, I think we're going to give away a spool, Justin, to one lucky person that visits the Promar Ahi website. We put the QR code up. We'll put it up again, but it'll block Justin's face. But you guys got to visit it. You got to go get some product. You got to visit it if you want to win that spool of brand new fluorocarbon, the GT fluorocarbon coming out from Promar Ahi. Visit the website. Go to promarahi.com. Put in the code YSWG22. Or grab the QR code. Either way, Elliot can track who you are, and then we'll give away one spool of that line tomorrow with Bill Varney on the show. But
so there's a few things that Promar makes that will make sure that you catch tuna. Okay, I know everyone's gung ho about these bluefin, and they're coming full bore. But there's a few things that Promar makes. I'm gonna show you in just a second. I'm playing with one of them right now. It is a must-have for your boat. Okay, if you want to make sure that you go out and you're successful every single time you go out, like you see Al, you see myself, you see Pablo, we're pretty much about 99.9% successful on the water. There's specific things that we have that make us successful. One of them, like I talked about before, I'm going to preach to the choir over and over and over: the live deception daisy chain cedar plugs. You need to have these. These are a game changer. Okay, game changer right here. The other thing is going to be
the bit for sure.
Yes, they do. The live deception flash jig, or the deception flash jigs right here. These 4-ounce ones are absolutely killer. All these are Promar products. Another thing that you need to have, and I'll explain to you why in a minute, is Promar makes this stick I have right here. This is a bait stick, okay? It's a 2-piece. You can't really see it because I don't have much room right here, but it's 2-piece. So another part connected to it right here. So it's easily stored. And what it does is on your sabikis that you're going to buy from Promar as well, it goes through this tube and it stores very, very easily. So you don't have a tangled mess. What you're going to use these sabikis for is you're going to catch mackerel. You're going to catch mackerel, fill up your bait tank with mackerel, go out there and throw a mackerel on some bluefin and watch what happens. It's going to surprise you. Right? The other thing is another thing that Promar makes now is, bam, the line. So I would use 50 or 60 pound fluorocarbon of the Ahi GT4 fluorocarbon. Put the appropriate size hook on there to match the bait, match the hatch, and throw that mackerel out into a foamer and watch what happens. Just hold on, because you're going to get bit. I guarantee it. You're going to be hooked up. So yeah, those are just a few things you must have. Visit Promar. It's going to enter you into getting a free spool line anyways. So there you go.
Real quick, before we're done here, I want Justin to talk, and I want all of you to listen to this, but Al's just starting out here. He's been with us now for a month. He's kind of poking around the website, but I don't think he fully understands how bitchin' the community is, because it is hard for guys like Al and I that didn't grow up with a lot of real friends. This community that we've built, Justin, is it the most incredible thing you've ever been a part of?
There is nothing like it. It is. It's all a family. Like everybody in the whole community is a big family. They call me, I call them. We all communicate. Literally, almost every single member. We all communicate with each other, tell you what's going on the water. We make each other successful. It's freaking phenomenal. It's amazing. There's nothing else like that ever. You'll never find anything like that again. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
And I know we talk. Hold on a second. We talk a ton about the website, always on the show, because I'm very proud of what I've built. I'm very proud of my guides. I'm proud of having Al as a part. I'm super proud of Al and Justin and Pablo being a part of this, and Sonny up in the Channel Islands. But the really cool thing is I didn't have this growing up in the sport fishing industry. I couldn't call Al. I couldn't call Justin. I couldn't call Pablo. I couldn't call Sonny. First of all, ego, which kept me screwed up for a long time, my stupid ass ego. Second of all, they wouldn't answer me because they're not going to share their information. But now, gang, you're part of our website. You're part of your saltwater guide. The community, we answer you. Justin, you can go through the community right now on our website, Al, and you can see probably close to 1,000 people that Justin has totally changed their lives hoop netting this year. Just forget about the tuna, forget about the halibut. Look at all the members on the community that have caught all these zillions of lobsters this year because Justin and Pablo put them on him. And Al's going to be helping you guys. You're going to call Al. His phone number every Thursday when he does the game plan, he puts his phone number out there. He wants you to call him. Al, we've never done this in the industry where we shared, man. We get kicked out of the club if we got caught sharing, right?
Well, that's why it took so long for me to say I'm in. You know what I mean? So I just want to make sure all those other regular people are not flipping out, you know. So there's a fine line there, but it's all good. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, all those other people that allowed you to stay at a level of brokenness that you can only dream about, right? Yep. I want you to check that community out. I want you to get fully involved, Al. You're going to be blown away. There's so many people in the community that have become close personal friends of mine. I've been to their families' weddings. I've watched their children's children have children. I've done so much because, and the members have become friends of mine. I've been doing this guide service thing for 25 years. I've watched people's children grow up and have children. I've been so blessed by so many friends. And then to build this website now that's been rolling along for 7 years, and to have people like Jeanette and Tim and Chris and Josh and Dave Burris, and just so many people that are a part of it every single day. It blows your mind, Al. And I know how valuable it's going to be to have you connected with all these people.
All right. I'm looking forward to it, you know.
And so, gang, if you want to learn about the Back Bay, if you want to learn, Al's going to be as open as Justin is, as open as Pablo is. Al wants to participate in this. He wants to take you with, he wants to go with you on your boat. He wants to meet you. He wants to meet your family. Al's a super good human. That's what we're looking for. Everybody that's a part of this, they're good fishermen, but at the end of the day, they're good humans. And that's what really matters, because anybody can go catch a fish. But if you can treat people the right way and treat their children the right way, and not a bunch of vulgarity pouring out of your mouth all the time. And the cool thing about having Al or Justin or they have real stories they can tell you, because the fish aren't always going to bite. But you can sit down and talk to Al and learn about his life, and it'll make you appreciate the life you have, because right, Al?
Right. I've been through a lot of stuff, medical stuff too. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, you know, from the addiction and all the medical stuff, I should have been gone long ago. You know, one thing I didn't mention real quick is I have 6 grandkids, right? And 5 of them are boys, right? And I had 2 of them on the boat the other day, teach them how to drive it and all that stuff. But the oldest one's 9 and the youngest one's like 4 months. And them little boys are fish, surf, desert, baseball crazy. You know, I've taught them how to surf. I've taught them a lot about fishing. That's always, I mean, I learn about fishing every day, but them kids are, and then I have my little daughter, Kiara, she's 8, and it's cool. You know, those kids are everything to me, you know, so they're lucky to have a grandfather like me. They come in my garage right here, and there's like a full-on candy store for them. They just start asking millions of questions, you know.
Oh, it's the best.
It's cool.
And yes, Tim, Al's phone number is available. It's on the website, on his game plan that he posted on Thursday. And then, gang, here's something that a lot of you don't know. That guy on the bottom of the screen, Justin Botrell, he's a TV star before he ever came to work for your Saltwater Guide. That's the Venom Hunter right there. He was Discovery Channel's Venom Hunter.
Nice.
Besides catching fish, besides the bluefin, besides the halibut, if your children are thinking about getting a reptile for a pet, and all of us wanted a reptile when we were little, if you're thinking about a snake or a lizard or something, do not hesitate to call Justin first. Okay. He probably has the snake you want in his garage. He has a million reptiles, but he's going to tell you, don't get that for your child. I mean, when I decided to save Marley, I asked Justin. I don't know nothing about monkeys. I asked Justin, what do I do? He's all, oh, they're the sweetest little monkeys in the world. That thing ain't going to hurt you, Dave. He's just going to love you. He's going to be sweet. Don't get any of those capuchins or spider monkeys or anything. He goes, look at their handlers. They're all missing fingers. I'm like, I don't want to be missing it. Now, Marley bites me as hard as he can. He can't bite through the calluses on my hands, you know, but Justin, Al are plethora of information. And yes, their phone numbers are available. As a matter of fact, gang, before we get done with the show, I'm going to have them both give you their phone numbers. Now, they're going to ask you first thing, are you a member of your Saltwater Guide? If you're not, they can't give you information. We have 4,220 people that are members that get the good information. You can call them up and find out why you want to be a member. They'll answer your phone, but you're not going to get any info if you're not a member.
Hey, real quick, check this out. Two incidents. The other day I was in Walmart, right? And when I go in Walmart, I always go through the outdoor section just to look around. And I had one of my shirts on, and a guy came up to me. He goes, "Hey, you fish?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Hey, you know," asked me some tips and stuff, and I helped him out. And I told him about your Saltwater Guide. I had him open it on his phone. And then when I took the kids in the bay the other day, I pulled up, and there was a gentleman with I think they were his kids. There was 4 of them, and they were completely green, and they had all these brand new little rods. And he asked me, "Hey, can you help me rig this up?" "Oh, sure." So I rigged his rod up for him real quick, rigged the kids' rods up for him real quick as I was talking about your Saltwater Guide to him. So it you know, it's cool, man. It's manifesting everywhere, you know. So
yep, it's a big loving community, right, yeah. Justin?
Now you got the South Bay guy down here just sharing the love in Walmart, at Pepper Park launch ramp, wherever it is, you know.
Yep, we're very happy to have you. And Kelly girl loves you, Al, so you're not going anywhere. Justin, thank you
Yes.
very much for everything you do. I can't wait to watch the last night. It's going to be a party. How many coffees are you going to drink tonight? Because it's going to be a party.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty wild. All right, maybe 3. We'll try. Last night I had 2, so maybe tonight 3.
Shit, Al,
So-
that stuff's like crack, baby. That stuff is mind-bending. When I drank it, I was like, you got to be kidding me. My heart was palpitating. My palms were sweating. I'm like, holy shit. I got to burn off some of this energy right now. I'm going to have a heart attack.
Yeah, you go down to lay down and go to sleep, and your whole body's pulsing.
Going, and mine's going all the time anyway. But I'm super excited to have you part of this thing, Al. And this isn't your last time. Normally on Mondays, gang, we bring in all the guides and they all talk about their week out fishing, which is bitching because no one does this. And Al's going to be part of it. But like he said, he had an accident down at the Coronados. This is how quick everything can change. Al's been down the Coronados a gazillion times, knows it like the back of his hand. This hauser line was floating probably 4 to 6 inches below the surface, could not see it. It was early in the morning. You know, that sun's glaring in your face. He caught it in his props. Devastating. Absolutely devastating. The amount of damage it did in 1 second. That Al's kind of in a bad spot right now. He's kind of in a bad spot. Thank God he has insurance. Thank God he was doing everything legal. Because if it was illegal charter, his insurance company wouldn't be helping him out. He's got to replace a strut. He's got all kinds of problems. Go ahead. Talk about it for just a second. We'll end the show.
So the damage is the starboard strut's bent almost 90 degrees. I'm surprised the prop even spins, but both the rudders and the props need to go to the shop. So it's really unfortunate. The boat was just detailed and running like a top, and we're just starting to get going. I had three or four trips this week, and unfortunately, I had to send them off. I got to keep a couple of them. But going back to that illegal, whatever, insurance type of thing, I run the boat at like 16 to 18 knots in the daytime when I feel it's clean water. And I had just throttled her down to 7 knots. And I was looking at the GPS. And next thing you know, a big old noise was made from the ropes in my props. I thought real quick. Got the Coast Guard and the sea tow on the boat, but a ponga was going by. I got a hold of ponga. My wife's Hispanic, called her. She interpreted the ponga. The ponga guy had a guy, urchin diver, come all the way from Rosarito. He got there in 45 minutes, jumped under there and cut everything loose. And I tested everything out and went about my way and made it in. But the Coast Guard was on me on the radio, an investigator right away, because that initiates a casualty report. So if you were on a charter that didn't have all his ducks in a row, it would have been real bad, you know. So I had to fill out the casualty report, got all that done, and they hauled me out yesterday and hung me just to investigate it, put it back in the water, and they're supposed to be calling me right now to hopefully they rehaul it today and get everything off of there and try to get it. It could be a week, which I doubt. It could be 2 weeks, or it could be 5 weeks. So say cross your fingers for me and say something to the fish gods that we get that boat back in order. And I'm not worried about the money because I have insurance. So, but I'm worried about time. So
yeah, because the one thing the insurance isn't going to do is replace his trips, gang. He's not going to replace the time. Yeah. So the hauser line, Randy, if you were to go down to South Island, on the inner side of South Island, the part that's pointed towards Tijuana and Rosarito.
The
lee is the most unbelievable thing you've ever seen. There's got to be 30, 40 pieces of rope just floating all, maybe 100, 130, 140 rope everywhere. They have those tuna pens tied up there. Plus they have just a god-awful amount of junk just all over there. I mean, it's unfishable pretty much inside there. And it used to be one of the greatest places to go. There was like the flats in there and those yellows would get on that, but they just polluted it with all those. And it's their country. They can do whatever they want. That's not what I'm saying. But if you go and you look at it, it looks like a dump somewhere. It looks like a dump. And you're just trying to navigate through there to get down to the rock pile. It is sketchy. And a lot of times you don't want to go on the outside because that's where the wind is. That's where it's rougher. Plus it's another extra 8-12 miles to go around the outside And when you're running charters and you're trying to save money on fuel, so you go down that inside, you think you're doing the very best you can, but you don't understand it's a damn junkyard in there. It's pretty crazy. It is.
Yeah, that's not where it happened. I made it through there. I slowed down and really go slow and really alert in that zone, but it happened at the rock pile. So normally the rock pile, there's only 2 or 3 or 4 lobster trap buoys or gill net buoys, you know, which I've slid over one in neutral before, but this was just a floating piece of rope out in blue water in the middle of nowhere on the rock pile, on the south end of the rock pile.
But it came from that mess. It came from that mess, and the current prevailing, everything goes down the coast. So that's what happened.
Really unfortunate. I've been running boats for my whole life, and I've never had that happen. You know, so things can happen.
So I'm gonna tell a story really quick, about almost the same thing that happened to me 2 years ago. I was running my boat that I'm on right now out to the Bluefin grounds over to the 499, and we were on the west end of Catalina heading out to the 499. On the way back, there was one of those big, thick blue lines stretched out across the ocean, like 400 yards.
Oh,
shit. I didn't see it until the last second, and I was cruising at 18, and I seen the line. I was like, "Oh crap!" I pulled the engines back as hard as I could. I threw it into neutral, and I glided right over the top of it, and it prop felled me.
Right.
Luckily, I wasn't in gear, just going, but it was just strung out right across the ocean, just as long as it can be, right over near Catalina.
Right. I've slid over
anywhere.
Right? I've slid over 4 or 5 of them over the years. Like you say, you get lucky, but I didn't see that sucker. It was rough and low light.
Yeah.
You know what? That you guys talking about that brings up a good point. And I talk about this a lot on the show. You need to have stuff on your boat. You need to have a mask and a snorkel.
Oh, right.
You got to have. I mean,
hey,
Al threw his deckhand in the water, but he didn't have a knife that could cut through that hawser line, right?
No, we had a knife. We tested the knife on the deck. I put on the stone. It was razor sharp, and it cut right through it on the deck, but it was really rough. And the water temperature was 63 degrees. We didn't have our wetsuits on the boat. We had a mask, and he couldn't hold his. It was really tangled up, man. Even the Ponga guy the first Ponga guy that got to the boat, you know how those guys are. They're nutty, man. That guy went right down to his boxers. Beachy Wetos. Went right to his boxers. He jumped in the water. He came right back up. He said, "Oh, no. We need a diver with the tank. I said, "Oh, get that sucker over here." But anyway, I am going to make video on the gear that you need for this. So basically, you should be carrying a mask, fins, a wetsuit, and which I've never had, but I have one in the mail right now, and the little temporary free diver air tank that they make. There's a gazillion of them, but the one I ordered has 15 minutes of air, and you can't go down below 15 feet. But so you put that tank. If we had that tank and a wetsuit, I mean, if we had just had the tank and a mask and a knife, we could have got it. But we couldn't stay under there long enough to cut it out. It took the diver with the air compressor about 15 minutes to cut it out.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Right.
Gang, you know what's really cool about having Al, Justin, and Pablo as part of this? And they're going to start making videos. We're going to be adding a lot of new videos to the website. We have 500 plus videos on there, but now Justin's son Ryland's going to start Ryland's Corner. He's going to be having for your children. There's going to be a plethora of videos. Justin told me that next week is spring break for Ryland and Madden. So they're going to be putting together their heads and making us some great videos for the kids. Al's going to be coming from a whole different perspective, from a different area. Justin always adds new videos like the Mad Max and the Thresher Shark and all that stuff. Pablo's going to be adding videos. We're going to be adding new videos more and more as we get into the summer season here, gang. So things are changing. Those of you that have been members for a long time, you've probably watched all the videos. Well, we're going to be adding new videos, and I know most of you hang on because you're waiting for that game plan on Thursday. Well, as you know, since I've added Justin, Pablo, Sonny, the game plans have been extraordinary. And now having Al in there, everything's just getting better and better. The whole website is just evolving and getting better and better. I'm so happy to have you guys and being able to give all this phenomenal information to everybody out there. We don't want anybody to sell their boat. That happened in 2007, 2008, when the economy took a crash and people couldn't justify going out and catching nothing. My website wasn't around back then, but my guide service was, and I was super busy teaching people how, but it was us one guy. Now I got 4 of us and all these great videos. There's no reason to sell your boat now because you can't catch anything. If you can't catch anything, it's not our fault. Look at Al. Look at Justin. Look at me. You cannot blame the 3 of us. If you suck at fishing, that's because you chose to suck, right?
There's a lot of information out there. Yeah. And there's more on here than YouTube, I think, more detailed.
Well, the problem with YouTube, Al, is most of those guys that are making videos on how to have never done it. They don't, they got lucky once and they caught a fish, and now they made a YouTube video, gang. All I've ever done my whole life, and my dad started in 1947, so I know he hasn't been doing it as long as a lot of the people watching, but I started in 74 doing it for a living, and we had to take 60 people out and catch fish for them every day. Anybody can catch fish for 2 or 3 people. That's easy. Go out there with 60 people day in and day out and catch fish, and then give me a call and let me know how you're doing. That's what you're getting from us. You're getting that knowledge. You're getting the small boat knowledge. You're getting the back bay knowledge. You're getting the how to use the Navionics, which Justin has taken to he made me. I'll tell you guys something. Justin made me step up my game. Justin made me go, wait a minute, I'm missing a key part of this Navionics, the shading part of Navionics. Oh my gosh. But one thing, that shading thing it'll show you where the rocks are, but it doesn't tell you how to fish them. That's why your saltwater guide is so important. We teach you how to fish on an uphill, downhill. Al just told you how important that tide movement is inside the bay. All this stuff that we talk about every day matters. It all matters.
Right.
You know what's great also, Al and Dave, is if you look on the community portion of the reports, and you see all the people catching fish. Like, it just makes you feel so good that you can tell people exactly where to go, and they catch those big old 20, 30, 40-pound halibut.
Right.
And you're like, I got it right where you told me to go. It's so cool.
Right. No, that's a good feeling. Yeah. I'm just sitting here talking about fishing. I'm ready to just go fishing right now. I'm just a big old kid, man, and I love to fish, and I still get the jitters, and I still can't sleep before trips and stuff unless it's day 35. But yeah. I
love catching everything. Doesn't matter if it's mackerel, perch.
No, it doesn't matter if it's sitting on the dock on your hands and knees with 0 sleep. There you are with your boys.
Sand bass
under the dock. And what you should have been doing was laying on the couch.
Those are some baddies for the dock.
So everyone knows that. They caught it right behind me, right outside the corner right there. So like Dave always says, elephants eat peanuts. That is no lie. Let me tell you. Those big old 16 and 18-inch sandies that we caught, or sand bass we caught the other day, they were caught on squid less than an inch long. Squid strips. Just little tiny itty-bitty pieces on a little baby hook. We threw it out there to catch some mackerel. And we're catching big old huge sand bass.
Hey, put some of that gulp in that boat and throw a couple gulps out there one day.
Yeah.
Too. That stuff is ridiculous on a half-ounce lead head if you got a spinning rod in there.
Yeah.
It, boy. Mm-hmm.
As soon as
I got him.
As soon as they start paying us, Al, we'll start talking about it.
Right. There you go. Let me work that out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna grab something really quick while you talk.
Hold on that one.
Yeah. It's that gulp works very good. I'm just playing. I'm just trying to be funny. I know I have a hard time being funny.
Yeah, they don't pay me, but I just try to show the love off the site.
I understand, because it works, and it's good to use stuff that works.
They should be paying me.
What do you got there?
Someone asked about the coffee.
Oh, there's
the coffee.
That's number 1.
This is coffee, the crazy coffee. It's made by Highlands. It is crazy. I'm gonna drink one now because I have it in my hand. So
Is that the same stuff that you guys had in the kill bag at the show?
Yes.
Yeah.
I stuck one of those out there. It works. I
Yeah.
had to drive home.
Got you all the way to your house, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're on the edge about becoming a member of your saltwater guide, anyone that's not a member, call Dave. He'll show you the website for a brief second, and I'm sure 100% it will change what you catch, guaranteed.
I will give you
if you catch one fish, you'll catch 20 fish being a member, maybe 100, maybe 1,000.
I'll give
It's
you a
just-
free look, gang. It's free. It's absolutely free. There's no way for me to charge you. You go look around at it and you see if there's really a guy named Al sharing what's going on in the bay. If there's really a guy named Justin sharing his lobster hot spots. If there's really a guy named Sonny teaching you how to fish the Channel Islands. If there's really a fireman named Pablo down there teaching you how to fish Mission Bay. You'll be blown away. You get to look at everything for free. I don't want you to buy anything if you don't know what it is. I want you to see it. Plus, there's no way to know how to use the website if you don't call me, because there's so much cool stuff on there. But if you don't know how to use it, you can't Google or YouTube how to use your saltwater guide. There's never been a website like this for fishermen, built by a fisherman. There's nothing out there like it. I'm not going to take away anything from the other websites, but they're not mine. They didn't get built by a fisherman for fishermen. They don't have 4 guides that are going to answer your calls every time you call. I'm just trying to help you, and you get to look at it for free. Free. There's no way for me to charge you if you don't give me your credit card. So go look at it for free and then go, oh, wait a minute. This website sucks. I don't want to be on here. And you're out. It didn't cost you nothing. It's free to look at. Check it out.
Yeah.
Call me 949-374-0786. It's time to start chartering Justin to go fishing. He's going to give you his number right now. We're going to finish the show off with Al's number.
So my phone number, you can call or text. It's 951-703-9442.
Al, you're
Oh, hold on. Someone's asking for Dave's number really quick again.
949-374-0786. Al, go ahead.
And then my number is 619-800-FISH-3474. Or you can contact me, on my site. They can call me or text me. I'm happy to let them know what's going on or book a charter.
What's your website?
CaptainClowers.com.
There you go, gang. We got you covered. There's no reason to suck. Tomorrow we got the great Bill Varney on here. We'll be talking. We're going to talk a little bit of politics, gang, because they just did a number on us on the rockfish thing that's going to affect Justin's family. It's going to affect Al's family. It's going to affect Pablo. It's going to affect Sonny. They just slid another one down the pipe. We didn't get to vote on it. We didn't get to do nothing. You're going to hear about that. You're going to hear about these windmills that are going to kill all the whales. They're killing them full speed back east. We're going to be talking with the great Bill Varney, who's very connected with the political side of it tomorrow. And I'm sorry, those of you that don't like politics and don't like to hear about it, fishing today is all politics. Unfortunately, it is. I'm sorry about that. And it's all about who you vote for, gang. And I know that there's a bunch of you that don't agree with that, but it is. There's one side that wants you to not fish, and there's one side that doesn't care if you fish. You figure that one out. I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. I'm just saying one side doesn't want you to fish at all, and one side could care less if you fish or not. Think about that when you're going to go pull that lever. All right, gang. I love you. Thank you for watching. Turn off the news. Everyone's lying. This is the only place you get the truth is at your